What it do, crypto fam? Happy Tuesday, May 23rd. Lots to cover today. In today's show, Bitcoin buys the rumor on U.S. debt ceiling as the Bitcoin price nears $27,500. And quoting Max Keiser, El Salvador has taken the Bitcoin-only lead. El Salvador is set to become a Bitcoin mining powerhouse with the launch of a new enterprise backed by $1 billion, ready to break ground on 421 megawatts of Bitcoin hash in Q3 2023, with 1,000 megawatts more on tap. Also breaking news, FTX 2.0 launching soon. Well, court filing shows a reboot plan in the works. You can't make this stuff up. Also in today's show, breaking news, Hong Kong to open crypto exchange access for retail users in June, but there is a catch. Also more breaking news, the Ledger CEO says sharded wallet keys could be shared if subpoenaed. And he says this is not a real concern, but to me, this is a major concern because who trusts the U.S. government? And speaking of the U.S. government, they could also create a backdoor to smartphones to access your crypto wallets, warns Balaji. We'll also be discussing 3 crypto analysts predicting Bitcoin price will hit $100,000 per coin by 2024. That includes Dan Tapiero, that includes Standard Chartered Bank, as well as PlanB, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. And welcome everyone tuning in. This is pod episode 1290. I'm your host JV, and today is May 23rd, 2023. Checking out today's market watch, we can see the crypto market back in the green. Pump it up. Let's go. Bitcoin up 1.6% for the day, trading above 27,300. We have Ether up 2.2%, trading back above $1,850, and just pretty solid gains overall. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, the crypto market cap back on the rise at $1.14 trillion with over $30 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance at 46.4% with the Ether dominance at 19.6%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, Render token leading the pack up 11%, trading at $2.70, followed by Kava up 11%, trading at $1.22, followed by Neo up 7%, trading at $10.37. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past week, you can see mass gains overall. Not too many in the red, just a handful. And some of the biggest gainers include Kava up 14% and RNDR up 11%. 0.5%, even Pepe up 4.5% for the week, but still down massively overall since the highs that we have seen. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, we're currently rated dead in the middle, which is 50, neutral. Yesterday a 49, last week a 54, and last month a 56 in greed. So there you have it. Welcome to everyone just tuning in. How many of you are currently bullish on the King Crypto? Let me know in the comments below. And towards the end of the show, I'll be reading everyone's comments out loud. Now for today's technical analysis, let's check out the charts and what's popping. Bitcoin staged a classic range comeback on May 23rd as the markets bought hopes that the U.S. has resolved the debt ceiling debacle. Right here, you're looking at the Bitcoin 1 hour candle chart with 30,000 back on the cards, still stuck in a familiar trading corridor. Bitcoin nonetheless showed signs of life as news hit that the Biden administration has potentially resolved the debt crisis. Yeah, sure. This turned out to be premature, but Bitcoin stayed higher on the day as market participants hoped that the bulls could follow through. Popular trader Skew eyed various trend lines, including the hourly and daily exponential moving averages for Qs as short-term moves. Quoting him here, successful bounce from the weekly open reclaim into the bounds of the 4-hour exponential moving averages and the 1 day. And he also says looking forward would expect real positioning to shift and show up today. Hold both EMA trends equals a resolution towards 30,000 plus. Failure equals price pulls back towards the 200-week moving average again. Now investigating the Binance order book, monitoring resource material indicators suggest that markets had bought the rumor when it came to the debt ceiling news. Quoting him here on Twitter, Fire chart shows the moment the market bought the rumor that POTUS and Speaker McCarthy are going to reach a deal on the debt ceiling. Now a subsequent tweet revealed that 2 of its proprietary trading tools have converged to deliver long signals. Quoting them here, confluence between the algos has historically been a very strong signal with high probability of validating the candle close. Now a cooler reaction meanwhile came as Hong Kong announced the return of the retail crypto trading, which I'll be covering in great detail here in a little bit. Now while Cointelegraph noted the move did not mean that Hong Kong would offer a carte blanche environment for crypto trading, cautious optimism optimism from within the industry was palpable. Quoting Philip Swift, Hong Kong opening up the gates. Let's see how the other markets respond. And quoting trader Mustache, many may not know it, but Hong Kong is one of the top 10 wealthiest cities in the world. I think we'll see a lot of green candles this summer. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. And quoting Max Kaiser, El Salvador has taken the Bitcoin only lead. No ish coins. You guys can take the crypto ish coin lead. El Salvador is said to become the Bitcoin mining powerhouse with the launch of a new enterprise backed by $1 billion, ready to break ground on 421 megawatts Bitcoin hash in Q3 2023 with 1,000 megawatts more on tap. Now, I think he's referring to the Bitcoin volcano bonds because that $1 billion number, but nonetheless, this is ecstatic news for the people of El Salvador and for mass Bitcoin adoption. Let's go. And now for a story hard to make up. Could you imagine FTX, which was once the second largest crypto exchange in the world, with its corrupt owner Sam Bankman-Fried, they're going to be relaunching? Well, according to some filing with the SEC, they are. This is actually quite hysterical, if you were to ask me. Bankrupt crypto exchange FTX revival plans could soon become reality as new CEO John Ray is working on a reboot plan, as per the latest court filings. In the May 22nd court filing, the FTX team shared a compensation report highlighting the work done by Ray during the Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The review report mentioned a series of activities undertaken by Ray to ensure the debtor's best interests. However, the mention of rebooting FTX caught the crypto community's attention. All I know is this: if they did reboot, how many of you would feel safe to use that exchange and want to support them? Hopefully, nobody. Now, Ray first talked about rebooting the troubled crypto exchange in January, and at the time, news reports suggest the bankrupt crypto exchange discovered $5.5 billion in liquid assets, with the new CEO working with creditors on a revival plan. Then in April, another report suggests the exchange recovered $7.3 billion worth of assets, and the FTX team plans to restart the exchange by the second quarter of 2024. And we all know the Bitcoin halving is roughly 11 months away, estimated to be in April of 2024. Now, the latest court filing documents suggest a reboot plan is definitely under consideration. They said definitely. The court document highlighted that the new CEO scheduled a series of meetings with creditors and debtors in the past month, as outlined right here. Now, some key topics of the meetings involve planning for structuring the exchange, reviewing plans for restarting the exchange, and finalizing the material required for rebooting the crypto exchange as FTX 2.0. According to the document, it appears that FTX will be entering a bidding process. I wonder if they're having meetings behind closed doors again with the chairman of the SEC, Mr. No Clarity Gary. Now, the news about the FTX reboot also boosted the price of the native FTX token, with FTT pumping for the day, now trading at $1.11, up over 13% as news about the relaunch became public. The court document brought relief to the crypto community, with many lauding Ray's efforts to revive the exchange that owes billions of dollars to its creditors and investors alike. Popular crypto Twitter influencer DGen Spartan claimed that FTX 2.0 could be the maximum path to recovery for all the parties involved. He stated that many creditors would sell cheaply just to get out of those pools of assets, and it would eventually turn the crypto exchange solvent again. However, not everyone was keen on the reboot process, as many claimed that the origin of the exchange itself was based on a fraudulent philosophy. Facts. One Twitter user said allowing FTX to resume operations would be a sinister move. FTX literally has blood on its hands from all of the plucking they have done to our industry. I agree with that user 100%. Now, let me know your thoughts on an FTX 2.0 launch. Do you think it's likely to launch? And if so, do they have your support? Holla. And with that being shared, now let's discuss the latest of what's happening with the retail investors in Hong Kong. And shout out to the people of Hong Kong. The Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission announced it would soon allow licensed platforms to serve retail investors. That's right. In a May 23rd announcement, which happened today from the SEC, the regulator said operators of virtual asset trading platforms willing to comply with the basically the SEC, they call it the SFC there in Hong Kong, proposed guidelines are welcome to apply for a license. The guidelines for virtual asset trading platforms include asset custody safety requirements, cybersecurity standards, and the segregation of client assets, amongst others. Now, the SFC CEO, Julia Long, said that providing clear regulator expectations is key to creating responsible and innovative development environment. Tell that to the SEC chairman, Mr. No Clarity Gary, would you? Quoting her here, Hong Kong's comprehensive virtual assets regulatory framework follows the principle of some same same businesses, same risks, same rules, and aims to provide robust investor protection and manage key risks. Now, while the guidelines will become effective June of 2023, the SFC has yet to approve any virtual asset trading platform to provide a service to retail investors. And according to the announcement, the SFC received 152 written submissions from within the industry during the consolidated period. And additionally, the SFC said it would implement a number of robust measures to ensure protection for retail investors. These include good governance, suitability during the onboarding process, and enhanced token due diligence, admission criteria, and disclosure. It continued to say that those who do not wish to comply with the upcoming guidelines should plan for an orderly closure of business operations in Hong Kong. And then we had the chair of the FinTech Association of Hong Kong said back in May that the country opening the financial industry to digital assets is just a natural progression. Then on May 17th, the state-owned Chinese company Greenland applied for a virtual asset trading license in Hong Kong. So there you have it. Let's go frickin' Hong Kong. We all know Hong Kong can be considered a part of China, but it's not mainland China, so it's like its own jurisdiction. In fact, they speak a different language, whereas in mainland China, they're speaking Mandarin, but with the traditional Hong Kong people, they still speak Cantonese. If you didn't know, now you know. I know because I spent some time in Hong Kong. Beautiful place to be. If you've never checked it out, be sure to do so. I've also spent 13 months inland in China, living out there back in 2010, 2011. So I got a little experience with the Chinese culture. But with that being shared, fam, now let's break our next story of the day. It's on everyone's mind. Can you trust the Ledger hardware self-custody wallet? Well, according to their CEO, I'd be very alarmed. Let me break this down. Check it out. You have Pascal, the CEO of Ledger, confirmed that the private seed phrases of users who opt into Ledger's controversial new Recover upgrade could, in theory, be handed over to the governments if they were to be subpoenaed. So FYI, if you're using a Ledger, do not opt into their new Recover upgrade because this gives the government access to be able to tap into your private recovery seed phrase, regardless if you think they're going to or not. Just the fact that they can is quite alarming. Ledger's latest firmware update and hardware wallets in general have been a touchy subject over the past week. The firm described the new Recover upgrade as an optional firmware update that allow users to back up their seed phrases with third-party entities with the aim of helping a user recover their seed phrase should they lose it. If a user opts into the service, the seed phrase is broken into 3 encrypted fragments called shards, which are then stored with 3 separate parties. Now, CoinCover, Ledger, and an independent backup service provider. Now, speaking on Peter McCormick's What Bitcoin Did podcast, the CEO admitted that while the new Recover update could technically see user seed phrases provided to government entities, it would only be reserved for serious acts such as crimes involving drugs and terrorism, quoting the CEO. It is not true that the average person gets subpoenaed every day. Well, I think if you're a Bitcoin user, you're probably not the average person, just FYI. The podcast host McCormick pushed back on the claim, pointing to when Coinbase was subpoenaed by the U.S. Internal Revenue Service. In 2018, it was forced to hand over the personal information of over 13,000 users. That's a great point. The CEO refuted this example as an inaccurate comparison. Unlike Coinbase, Ledger is not a banking institution and is not subject to the same legal constraints as a crypto exchange. What if they changed that regulation and they required it and boom, everyone's private keys are exposed? So hey, to me, it's not worth it. It's worth noting that while some users, such as synonymous crypto commentators on Twitter, see the update as an unforgivable breach of privacy, Ledger representatives maintain that these concerns are largely overblown, in which they should. They're trying to save their arse at this point. Quoting Ledger here, the core value proposition remains the same as it always has. The ethos of self-custody and self-sovereignty means you get to choose, he said. The introduction of a Ledger Recover doesn't change that. It's entirely up to you if you feel it's a service you should subscribe to. So I'm telling you straight up, if you're using the Ledger, do not subscribe to that service. Unless you truly trust the U.S. government, you truly trust the World Economic Forum, and you truly trust these third parties, which you really can't trust. You know what I mean? Ledger shared that despite the many accusations being hurled at the company across social media, the original seed phrase itself still does not leave the device. Quoting them here, what you're creating, if you choose to, is an SSS encrypted and shard backup. These shards are completely useless unless the user restores a backup on a Ledger device, and only on a Ledger device where multiple parts are needed needed in order to decrypt. If you don't want to use Ledger Recover, nothing changes for you. And so they say. And when asked if there were any plans to open source their firmware code, something the competitor cold wallet provider Grid Plus is currently making a step towards, Ledger claimed that it is not possible to make the inner workings of it secure element chip open source due to legal constraints from the chip manufacturer, quoting them here. What we will do is continue to open source more and more of our code until we reach a similar level as the Raspberry Pi, where only a tiny part of the code related to the secure element is closed, which again, we are legally bound to do. So here's my 2 Satoshis. I do not trust Ledger, as I do not trust the World Economic Forum. I don't trust the third parties, and I would absolutely never voluntarily sign up for that shard service where your private key is being sharded to 3 separate companies at the end of the day, all of which we cannot trust. And I don't trust the government. They may see a post in the future about Bitcoin and say, hey, he's going against the CBDC program. Let's hack his private key and steal his money. And I'm not for that. I'm against that. I'm all for self-custody, but do it in a wallet you can trust. And now that the CEO is seeming to be very ignorant or pretending to be ignorant and acting like everything is okay, to me, that's a red flag. So I would highly suggest, if you're using a Ledger, find a new wallet. My top recommendation would be the Trezor. The Trezor has been around for the longest amount of time. And guess what? It's also open source. So unlike the Ledger. So with that being shared, fam, do you still trust the Ledger wallet device? Let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below. And speaking of a corrupt government in which we cannot trust, let's discuss the U.S. government having a backdoor to your smartphones to hack your crypto wallets as well, which doesn't surprise me. Former Coinbase Chief Technology Officer Balaji thinks that the U.S. government could try to use its tech giants like Apple and Google to steal crypto from its citizens. Balaji said that world governments could be bankrupt in a decade and desperate to seize Bitcoin to fund their operations. No joke. He says the U.S. government probably won't have the capability to execute a 51% attack on Bitcoin. A 51% attack is when a miner or mining pool gains more than 50% of the network hash rate in order to rewrite the ledger and double spend prior transactions. Balaji says China might be able to pull off a 51% attack, but notes that most mining happens outside the Chinese borders now, making that outcome less likely. And the former Coinbase CTO says that the real systemic risk for crypto are Apple and Google, quoting Balaji here. Instead of the federal government may try to compel Apple and Google and other tech companies to hunt for private keys on the servers, devices, and browsers that they control, and to remit any stolen funds to a cash-hungry federal government. This isn't cyber terrorism, it's cyber war. It is not some random hacker who manages to sneak out a file. It's when the CEO of a company gives the lawful order to hack their customers. Kind of remind you of Ledger, right? This is similar to what happened to 140 million Russians, designated enemies of the state in early of 2022. Every tech company turned on their former customers. Balaji notes that Apple chief executive Tim Cook might stand up to governments in such a scenario, quoting him again. He has been good on end-to-end encryption and stood up to the establishment on the child sexual abuse material on device scanning initiative, which was an obvious way to get snout under the tent. And in March, Balaji made waves in the crypto world after placing that $1 million bet, which Bitcoin would skyrocket to $1 million in just 90 days in response to the failing banks and hyperinflation. And he did since then pay off that bet. Decided to pay out $1.5 million to close the wager ahead of the expected time, which I believe would have been around, June 17th next month. Balaji then claimed he just made the bet to raise the public alarm about the U.S. Federal Reserve's monetary policies. So there you have it, firsthand. And now let's dive into a $100,000 Bitcoin price prediction, the moment you've all been waiting for, and then we'll dive into some live Q&A. Now, there's 3 entities who have made this bullish price prediction, and I have a bonus 4th entity to share with you. 3 market analysts emerged with bold predictions, anticipating Bitcoin hitting 100,000 by 2024. For example, crypto analyst Dan Tapiero says Bitcoin can pass 100,000 during the latter half of 2024 or 2025. Tapiero shared his forecast during the interview with Scott Melker, and in fact, according to Tapiero, Bitcoin may trade sideways for the duration of 2023, and shortly after, he expects the King Crypto to see 100,000 per coin around the halving event, which is approximately 11 months out, with the anticipated date set to be in April of 2024. And among other contributing factors named by Tapiero was the adoption of the blockchain. Now, another bullish prediction for the King Crypto is Standard Chartered bank. That's right. We have Geoff Kendrick, the head of crypto research at Standard Chartered. He also believes Bitcoin can test 100,000 next year in 2024. This optimistic outlook is based on several factors, including the turmoil of the banking sector, the upcoming Bitcoin halving event, and the expected collusion of the Fed's rate hikes. Kendrick also highlights the nearing of the end of the Fed's tightening cycle as a favorable factor for the Bitcoin future performance. The correlation between Bitcoin and the Nasdaq suggests that if there is a broader improvement in risk-on assets, that Bitcoin is expected to trade more favorably. And then also keep in mind, we have Bitcoin spot ETFs. If any of those get approved, I mean, a six-figure Bitcoin price is inevitable. And now from the prediction from the Bitcoin stock-to-flow model creator, PlanB, according to the anonymous analyst, known for his stock-to-flow price prediction, Bitcoin will pass 100,000. PlanB also believes this will happen shortly after the next halving event. The model evaluation of Bitcoin's price is based on parameters such as scarcity and the relationship between Bitcoin's existing supply and its production rate. PlanB states that the coin reached a cyclical low of 15,000 in November during the FTX collapse and suggests that in case Bitcoin reaches 32,000 shortly, the next possible price target of 100,000 can be reached soon after the 2024 halving event. Also like to throw out there that PlanB also suggests, according to the stock-to-flow model, that the Bitcoin price prediction after 2024, between 2024 and 2025, is estimated to be somewhere between $100,000 and $1 million. Now, that is quite the gap. You know what I mean? That's ultimately a $900,000 price gap. But nonetheless, the 100,000 prediction is the low. And now for a bonus price prediction, I want to share with you from another analyst by the name of Decode Jar. He says, hold the base channel, and $100,000 Bitcoin price is a realistic, perhaps even conservative target for a Wave 5 extension, referring to the infamous Elliott Wave theory. So there you have it. And now for some live Q&A. Welcome to each and every one of you today in the live chat. Satwise Jenks, Evan Rivero, Digital Dankness. We got Oakley, Selling with Twins. We got Mike Well. What's good, Jade? What's up, F1? What's up, Tough Cookie? Good to see the fam in the building. Mark Thomas, what's poppin'? Tony Hilton, Coin Father, eCoin, Jeff S. We got Crypto Curtis. What's good? John 316, Reg Huber, go Bitcoin. Let's freaking go. And I'm going to scroll to the very top. Dankness says 100,000 is 2024. Send it. That means 200,000 plus all-time high for this bull run. I still think 150,000 will be this run's top, but I would happily take the L here and be too conservative in my prediction. Well, thank you for sharing your prediction. I think it's inevitable and only a matter of time. I think we all know this banking crisis was planned. 100% Dankness agreed. And why I asked yesterday, why can't Biden just tell the truth and let people know that the dollar is crashing and they're ushering in CBDCs? Because they don't want to cause mass panic. That'll make the dollar crash that much more faster. They're trying to hold on to this thing until the wheels fall off so they continue their corruption, continue printing money as money printer continue to go. It is what it is, but I agree with you 100%. Volkman says, from my latest research, your ledger keys will be reachable by ledger if they're subpoenaed by a government agency. Facts. And that's what we covered in great detail today. So as of now, I no longer trust Ledger at all because I don't trust the government. And I would never voluntarily sign up for that shard program where these private entities are receiving access. Because what if you were to get subpoenaed? Like I said, maybe you're anti-CBDC and maybe they're going to go against anyone saying anything bad against central bank digital currencies. Maybe they're going to go after anyone saying things bad about Janet Yellen or the Jerome Powell, chairman of, the whatever, or even Gensler or something like that. What if? Because everything you do on the internet is permanent. You know what I mean? So they could absolutely and will absolutely use that against you if there's a crackdown in crypto. So you can't trust them. And for the Ledger CEO to be so naive to believe it's not a big deal, that just infuriates me. And that's how I feel personally. But let me know what you think. This is why it is better to self-custody your own seed information. The less the government can manipulate, the safer it is. In my opinion, you make a great point. Volkman says, I keep working to keep my seed information private. That's what's up. And that's what it is all about. I trust them like I trust a wet fart. I agree with you, Digital Dankness. Do not trust them whatsoever. SC Bitcoin Blockchain Conference in Charleston, South Carolina, October 11th through the 13th. That's what's up. Are you going to be attending Dankness? Anyone else going to be attending there in South Carolina and Charleston? Let us know. Not in Myrtle Beach, but hey, it's not that far away. That's right. Good morning, Satwise. He says, good morning to the fam. And I got to appreciate, as you'll notice up here, it was Satwise suggestion to put a Lightning wallet QR code. So if someone wants to send a tip, they now can. They can zap me some sats, just as Satwise did yesterday. He sent me 5,000 Satoshis, and another individual sent me 110 Satoshis. And then Satwise wrote, thanks for taking my suggestion, brother, with love from Satwise and Cosmic Rain. So much love. I greatly appreciate the support as always, fam. You are absolutely awesome. And it was a great idea. I love watching a live Jimmy Dore show last night with Max Kaiser, and he totally orange-pilled Jimmy this morning. The video isn't showing. Oh, no, they took it down. And that is correct. This is pod episode number 1290. Much love. YouTube censorship is my guess. Probably right. A lot of censorship going on there. That's why Rumble continues to grow. You got the likes of like Steve Will Do It, Andrew and Tristan Tate. You now got Dana White's Power Slap League and many other things starting to premiere on Rumble, just FYI. So if I can't find something on YouTube because of censorship, the first place I'll look is Rumble. But again, everything can be censored. Unfortunately, we don't have a decentralized web, though there are decentralized apps appearing like Nostr. I just recently signed up the other day for it. Is anyone else using Nostr? Please do let me know. Bitcoin saw a small pump. We will see if it returns to 26,800. I don't know. I respect the pump. Hopefully we continue on up to 28, 29, 30,000, but time will tell. I was watching Jimmy Dore, Max Kaiser live interview on Rumble 2 last night and switched to YouTube for better streaming. Maybe it went private because I can't find it in either place. Dang. Driving, but not missing out. Appreciate the support, Megadon. Thank you for tuning in live as always, fam. Much love, much respect. Max totally pilled Jimmy too. He kept saying, now I get it. Love to hear that. You know how many people Max Kaiser is responsible for orange pilling? Like Ricardo Salinas, the third richest man in Mexico, who's a big Bitcoin advocate. So many people. Get slap happy with that like button on your way in, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't yet. This is the #1 source for daily crypto news. Couldn't have said it better myself, Digital Dankness, so greatly appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. Reg Huber says, go Bitcoin, let's freaking go. John 316 says, Crow Coin, baby. You're referring to Kronos of Crypto.com coin. Let me know. Mark Thomas says, blast off. Let's go. Full send. An announcement that FTX 2.0 is in the works could explain the pump of FTT, precisely why FTT is still pumping. It boggles my mind how FTT even has a market value to this day, but you probably have a lot of Ishcoiners who were anticipating a return of the Ishcoin king, who's Scam Bank McFried in his exchange, FTX. I just learned a quote, tweet doesn't count as a retweet in Twitter, so I did both today. Good to note, Satwise. I greatly appreciate that support, as the greatest compliment you can do to share this content is retweet it on crypto Twitter, smash the like here and turn on all notifications if you're new to the channel. Bullish as what? Bull balls, says Crypto Curtis. That's what's up. Is it a debt crisis or a spending crisis? Great question, isn't it? Bitcoin, the orange crab, says Mark Thomas. Jeff says, if I ran my finances like the feds, I would be in jail. Facts. Let's audit the Fed. It's about time. It's like if I had Jeff S's credit and every time I reached my credit limit on the Jeff S card, I would just increase the limit. Exactly. And you can just keep accruing debt, infinite debt, and you can just keep printing more money to eliminate that debt, and you can cause more hyperinflation debt in the name of taxes and stuff to the American people. That's what the United States government continues to do. World is seeing South America moving towards Bitcoin. I think the Asian countries will follow suit. I think you're right. It is good to see mass adoption occurring in the Latin Americas. Love to see that. People make mistakes. It's good that FTX is revamping. I'm sure they are. Many investors still with them. They can make it right. We shall soon see. Tony Hilton. It's just hard to trust an entity that was so corrupt and misleading so many people. I just think it's more of a matter of principle with me. As long as scam, bank, and fraud isn't allowed to touch it, it could be successful. Are you telling me that the Michael Jordan of crypto can't touch it for it to be successful? What the frick, Ledger? Exactly. I don't trust their CEOs. I no longer trust their company. And as of now, I will no longer ever recommend the Ledger device. My go-to is going to be the Trezor. Does this mean Ledger is not trustless? That is right. You have to trust that their third party will not subpoena. You will not be subpoenaed by the government, and that your third party shards will not be shared. And we already know, do not trust them. Evan Rivero says, yo, I'm back from vacay. I dropped my boat in LaBelle in Florida and traveled all the way down to Fort Myers. I caught a hotel there, but my dad got us thrown out. Oh no, what in the world did your pops do to get you thrown out of that hotel? And happy sailing there, fam. Sounds like a little too much fun, Evan. Right? Evan, did you sail or was it a motorboat? I'm dumping ledger, says Mike. Well, I don't blame you. Morning all. Good morning, Sailing with Twins. Good morning, Tough Cookie. Good to see you. Dumping ledger for Blockstream Jade, says Tough Cookie. Statwise says Bitcoin University Matt Cratter used to trust Trezor until their own shady deal. Blockstream Jade is the way. It's open source and built for Bitcoin by Bitcoiners. Good to note. I'm going to look more into this open source Jade wallet by Blockstream because I trust Blockstream because I trust Adam Back. He's one of the early Bitcoin OGs that has been around pre the inception of Bitcoin. And if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't have Bitcoin today, as just the same goes for Max Kaiser, early adopter and involved with, the creation of Bitcoin in some way using a part of that technology. Oakley says, hey, JV, I'm irresponsibly long Bitcoin. This is my 10th year in the space. Well, congratulations. That means you got in 2013. That's a massive feat. That's a long time. You're an OG. I've got some big balls, no doubt, and I can't wait to give you a ride in my jet. Well, first and foremost, I'd love to take a ride in your private jet. Let's go to Bitcoin country, shall we? I even saw there were in regular airplane tickets, Max shared on his Twitter yesterday, that you can get from, I think it was Houston, Texas to El Salvador, a round trip ticket for like $149. How cool is that? That's what's up. And so shout out to Oakley. Appreciate you tuning in here today. Mark Thomas says roll on 100,000. And a reminder, once Bitcoin price hits that 100,000 price point, we are going to have a celebration party here in Puerto Rico. And everyone is invited. We're going to have a great time. What's Tizen's stance on third party? Do you mean Trezor? Only 25% of alts, but feel like it's a lot. There is value in ish, apparently, says Coinfather. They want the least amount of people holding Bitcoin when they get to pull the rug out from the US. Facts. I agree 100%. They don't want people having wealth, which is crypto, especially Bitcoin. They prefer you to hold the least amount as possible because they want to bankrupt you along with the country. Unfortunately, with all of these cryptos, Mark, why would the most obsolete coin get mass adoption? Something will pump the market. I think it will be Ethereum, says Tony. Coinfather says all going into the future as mass Bitcoin adoption happens. I see the OGs in Bitcoin are going to be the only ones to self-custody because it will cost more in the future to do so. Michael says, Tough Cookie, that is why I have not updated the firmware on my ledger and bought a Trezor this morning. Well done. Debt ceiling deal will dump crypto. Sell the news, says SHBA. Tough Cookie says, even if you don't sign up, the functionality is there. This is true regarding to the ledger. Statwise says the Lightning will be the catalyst that brings mass adoption. Word up. Geoff says the Lightning Network is one big step in that direction. Mark says the halvings are all very well, but it's all mass global adoption that'll send Bitcoin. Parabolic. I think we get parabolic by the institutional adoption from the spot Bitcoin ETF, which continues to be denied by the SEC for obvious reasons. And ask yourself this, why would they approve a futures Bitcoin ETF, which they did years ago, but disprove over and over again a spot Bitcoin ETF, which cannot be manipulated for obvious reasons? They do not want mass adoption occurring, and they're trying to push it back as far as they can. Yes, Wave 5, referring to that Elliott Wave theory. Statwise says, Oakley, app name for a long-term hodler. I also first purchased back in 2013. Congrats, Statwise. That's what's up. It's impossible to lose money in Bitcoin if you hold it for 3 years plus. Thank you for sharing that. Geoff says, I want to make a prediction for Bitcoin. Would put it at around 2025 in the presidential election and after the new year. The date would be May 1st, 2025. Tony says, here we go talking about the exchange rates and nothing backing up these guesses, not predictions. If all of the crypto success hinges on these halvings, we are screwed. I can see if there are facts. Well, you have to realistically keep in mind, Tony, there is a halving cycle that occurs every 4 years, and history shows, and I do understand that history doesn't always repeat, but oftentimes it does rhyme. And according to history, in the year of the halving, Bitcoin tends to rise on up, and the year preceding the halving, just like we witnessed in 2021, all-time high. So I'm anticipating a new all-time high in 2025, just like we witnessed an all-time high a year after the halving of 2016 and 2017, when we surpassed 19,000, hitting roughly 20,000 as that top. So I would anticipate a $200,000 to $300,000 Bitcoin price realistically in 2025, but I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments right down below. 100,000 please, and then a party in Puerto Rico. You got that right stat-wise. I cannot wait. And Evan says we used the motorboat. We had a 25-foot flat boat. That is what's up. Much respect. Make sure you're at least 2 pilots. I think Kevin should be the next FTX CEO. Are you referring to Mr. Wonderful? That's hilarious. I donated Bitcoin to Kennedy Jr. It was an awesome speech at Bitcoin 2023. That's what's up. I did watch that as well. He talked about the truckers being shut down. Was that in Ontario, in Canada, or Ottawa, wherever that was, and how Bitcoin was the solution so that they can receive the donations. I thought that was very valuable as well. eCoin reminds us not to trust, to verify facts. With that being shared, fam, now for a recap of what I covered here in today's show. I broke down the latest technical analysis as we discuss Bitcoin buys the rumor on U.S. debt ceiling as the Bitcoin price nears 27,500 on this latest pump. We also discussed breaking news. FTX 2.0 is launching soon, according to court filing showing a reboot plan in the works. We also discussed the latest with Hong Kong to open crypto exchange to access to retail users, and I shared that there is a catch. We also discussed that the Ledger CEO says that sharded wallet keys could be shared if subpoenaed, be shared with the government. I don't like that whatsoever. We also discussed the U.S. government can create a backdoor to the smartphones to access crypto wallets, warns Balaji. And we also discussed 3 analysts, in fact, 4 analysts predicting Bitcoin will hit a whopping $100,000 price action by the year 2024. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments below, and I look forward